Hi, I'm Macy.
And I'm Missy.
We're best friends
and business partners. And each week, we're going to bring you a quote that inspires us, and we're going to talk about it.
Join us as we break down our favorite impactful messages for leadership and share how you can apply them to lead with confidence and purpose.
Get ready for a fun and authentic journey into leadership, life, and everything in between.
Well, hey, bestie.
Hey, bestie, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Okay. Have you ever noticed that when people talk about success, like they usually focus on like where they ended up, like their title, their promotion, the car, the vacation, those kind of things?
Yeah, I think of those kind of things as like things that maybe a younger person finds important when they're first starting out in their career, right?
I agree. I agree.
On
But the stories that interest me most are the ones about how they got there.
Yeah. And you know, I love reading biographies and autobiographies. And I think that's why I want to know about the journey. I want the good stuff, not the end result, right? Not the things that people see on social. I want the juicy.
Yes. Yes. And especially when they manage to get there without sacrificing their values. Like those are some of my favorite stories. They didn't sacrifice relationships or who they are. And that is exactly where we are headed today.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Let's get to introducing our guest for today, Terry Stanley. Welcome to the show. We're so glad you're here.
Hey, Terry, welcome.
Terry,
thank you.
Go
so
ahead.
So happy to be here. Thank
you. Good. Well, go ahead and let our guests in on like who you are. What do you want to share with them?
So my name's Terry Stanley. I am a retired, recently executive CEO.
Congrats.
Thank you very much, of a grocery company. We had 16 grocery stores that we opened, built, and operated in the Alabama, Mississippi area. Recently just published a book that sort of chronicles my memoir of a climb. I started the business 50 years ago as a bag boy and worked my way up to a CEO. And I felt like I wanted to put that on paper for my family so that they could understand the struggles that you guys just mentioned. Yeah. And so we're real excited to have published that here recently, and super excited to be here talking to you ladies today.
Yeah, well, we're excited too. And here's the quote. And Terry, I might have gotten this from you. So once I share it, let me know if this is, because it's so perfect for you. I think I might have taken notes or something from a previous conversation, or maybe stole it from your LinkedIn or something. But the quote that we're going to dive into is this: you can climb to the top without losing what matters most. Did you come up with that?
It's so good.
Yes, that's in my book.
Okay, so there you go. That's where I got it. So Terry Stanley is the one that came up with today's quote. So Terry, it should be easy for you to talk about it. So let's do it. Let's talk about it. Tell us about that. Like, what comes to mind? Why is that something that you say, and probably like that you stand proud to say?
Yeah. What comes to mind first is struggles. Business is a struggle. Being in the retail business in particular, what a lot of folks don't understand unless you are a family member of someone that manages in retail is that when most people are at work 8 to 5, off on weekends, those folks in retail, we're the folks you come to see when you're off.
Yeah.
So those Saturdays, those Sundays, those holidays, that's when those folks in retail are working the hardest. And it's extremely difficult on family when, especially times when you have kids, they're involved, you can't be soccer dad or soccer mom when you're in retail. It's extremely difficult. So fighting through those struggles and balancing, work and life, family, while trying to maintain a career in an extremely challenging environment is really difficult. So that's where I coined that. Climbing to the top is really, really difficult, but you have to not lose what matters most.
Yeah. So you spent 50 plus years working your way from bagger to CEO. Looking back, what are you most proud of?
No doubt the people that I touched and the people that continue to touch me today. I realized after retiring, the people that reached out to me to congratulate me, the kind things they had to say that reminded me, when I did touch them years ago, when they were young, coming up in management. So without doubt, I think the thing that I'm most proud of is those people that I touched along the way.
Doesn't it always come back to people, y'all? Like, nobody's going to say, oh, right? I am most proud of this new strategy we had for, scanning and bagging groceries and getting to the car. Like, it's always about people.
And you can be proud of those things.
Sure,
right? You
of course.
Proud that you had an innovative idea that the company used, but the end of it, exactly right, Missy. You're not going to say, that's what you want. So let's ask you this, Terry, because you started as a bagger. And do you think that there was a time in the early years, like, was there a moment that you're like, I know I'm going to be CEO, or I know that leadership is absolutely going to be part of my journey? Was there a specific moment?
I detail this in a book. At about 22, 23, I literally read a book that was out of a library that our company offered, the company that I worked for at the time. And it said, you need to have goals and you need to write them down. And I wrote down 5 things, and they were each time stamped with, I wanted to be a store manager when I turned 25. I wanted to be a district manager at 35. I wanted to be a vice president at 40. And I wrote down in 10-year increments. And I said, and I want to be a CEO when I turn 65 years old. And I made CEO 8 months before my 65th birthday, which was incredible. But I think it was at that moment that I realized I wanted to write my goals down. And that sort of became a commitment to myself.
Yeah. Like you had the vision, but once you put it on paper, then you could start to work on those things.
Yeah. And I had no idea that I would make that, but it was a goal and it was in writing. And at that point, like I said, I felt like I committed to myself and my family, and I was going to do whatever I needed to do to try to achieve it.
Now, this may be in your book, Terry, so I don't want to give it away if it is in your book, but did you have like specific things like, if I'm going to be store manager, then I need to do A, B, C, D. If I'm going to be district, if I'm going to be CEO, is that part of what your book is about as well?
Yeah, not as much, because again, I wrote down those key times, those key positions that I wanted to be in. And then I just made a commitment to myself that I was going to do whatever it took.
Whatever it took.
Internally within myself. To try to get there.
Yeah. So what kept you motivated through those different stages that you kind of had marked along the journey of where you wanted to be?
Without doubt, Missy, it was my family. I have 3 boys, and I wanted to be a provider. I wanted to be a good father. I wanted to set a good example. But at the same time, trying not to miss the ball games, trying not to let work be more than family. And that's really, I think chronicled in the book very well about just how difficult that really was. But I think at the base, for your question, without doubt, I was always grounded in family. And that just had to do with my upbringing with my parents and so on.
I have to ask, did any of the kids go into the grocery business?
I was thinking the same question.
Of course.
My youngest son is my senior director of operations today at the company I just retired from. He has followed me every step along the way, even though I discouraged it. Don't do it. I beg of you. And then my 2 older sons, both are in different fields.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's funny. What were some, I imagine there were some, what were some non-negotiables that you refused to compromise, just based on the quote, right, that I stole from you? What are some non-negotiables that you refused to compromise throughout your career?
Yeah, I think the biggest one, Macy, is don't step on others to get to where you want to be. It's I would say it's prevalent in a lot of industries and a lot of businesses where the quick way to get ahead is either not very ethical or it's to step on other people. And that just was a non-negotiable for me. I had to do it on my own, and use the resources I had around me.
Sure,
the
of
people
course.
that touched me along the way, but not by treating other people poorly or stepping on someone when you just should not do that.
Is that prevalent in retail? Because we don't really hear much about that, Miss, or see much with
really
the companies
don't.
So I'm just wondering if that specific industry.
Yeah, I feel like it is. And I feel like oftentimes they're always looking for the next person outside of the organization rather than looking at those people that are most loyal. I think, again,
oh my gosh, that's huge. Say that again. Say that again. Organizations say that again.
Well, they oftentimes are looking outside of their industry to try to find people to bring in to improve their business while bypassing those people that are most loyal, that have been with them for years, that have tremendous loyalty towards their firm or their company. And yet they're just looking for the next great thing on the outside to come in to build their business. I've seen it so many times, and I've been a part of that on many occasions when I felt like I was passed over because they were trying to find the next great thing outside of the business. And I was like, hey, right here.
So good. So when you think about this career and going up through the ranks and seeing things like that, what types of leadership mistakes do you see organizations repeating, like in today's world?
Yeah, loyalty is definitely one. I think that they fail to recognize and look within oftentimes because there's a lot of turnover, particularly in retail.
Yeah.
It's an in and out door for a lot of people. I mean, how many people start their work life is high school as a cashier or a bagger.
Yeah.
And they quickly move on to college or other things. And they'll tell you quick, my first job was in a grocery store. And I was like, so was mine. And my last job.
Right. Yeah. I mean, your career is very rare, I would imagine.
I agree. Sidebar, I have, besides you, Terry, Macy, have you ever worked retail?
Oh, yes.
Okay, because I did too. I worked at McRae's, which is now Belk, and I wasn't great at it.
Oh, I loved my retail job. I worked at Express, so I got all the latest clothes and could sing songs in French. So no, that was my job in high school.
They kept rotating me around to all the different departments. And so one day I'd be like in drapes and people would be asking me about that. And the next day in China and the next day in men's. And so they didn't get the best out of me.
Yeah, probably not.
I digress. But
and speaking, actually, Missy, I think this is a good segue to something that I was thinking because of what you said. There's a difference between compliance and commitment. Right. We talk a lot about this. We have a keynote about compliance and commitment. So, Terry, what do you think separates leaders who only get compliance versus the leaders who get that commitment? I know loyalty, you're going to say, is one thing, loyalty and trust, but what other things do you think?
I will tell you that compliance is because of position. I comply because of your title, because you're my boss, because I have to do that.
So, yeah.
Commitment is because I've influenced you to want to do it.
Yes.
Commitment means, man, I want to do this for the boss. I want to make the boss happy. I love working for Missy or Macy. And man, I don't ever want to let my boss down. There's a huge difference to me in compliance and commitment.
Yeah. I mean, I think Missy's example is a perfect example, right? She showed up to drapes on Tuesday because that's what her boss told her, and men's shoes on Wednesday, but she wasn't committed to either of those because she just had to be there. They never said,
I was just a body. I was just a body behind the cash register. Had they said,
What
She
department do
likes
you want to be
fashion.
in?
Why
Right.
don't you love shoes? Every time you come, you've got a different pair of shoes. Let's put you in shoe department. I think you could add some value
Right.
there. That would have gotten commitment rather
Yeah.
than compliance. Oh,
Yeah.
that was
And
good.
it's really tied to communication too, because again, those bosses that are typically, they're just getting compliance. They're not taking the time to communicate to people and share with them the whys, the hows, the wheres,
Absolutely
the
not.
whens. And their lack or failure to do that really keeps them from getting the kind of commitment that they deserve. And then people quit.
Yeah.
And they can't understand why they can never keep anyone in drapes.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
Terry, how do you think, after your years of experience, organizations can better prepare the next generation of leaders?
They have to start listening. It's a dying skill. We think we have all the answers. I've been in this business for 30 years, 40 years. I don't need some kid telling me how to run my business.
Yeah.
We stop listening. And, I've said it my whole career. I've heard it my whole career. The kids today, they don't want to work. The young people today,
Yes.
they're different. And, hey, they're different. When I was young, I was different.
That's right.
But the thing that does not change for me is listening to people.
Yeah.
And, communicating openly. And I have very few problems with our young folks today.
Yeah. And I would say, Missy and I have trained a lot of younger folks. And they're sometimes our favorite to train.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're so eager to learn and grow.
Yeah. It's funny
but
when
we allow them to
ahead,
just
Terry.
walk into our business, and we have these preconceived notions that they don't care, they're not interested, they don't want to be here. And so we basically build this wall between ourselves and what we'll call the younger generation for absolutely no reason whatsoever.
For no reason. Yeah.
Yes.
We get a lot of people that say, like, when we ask, like, what's your biggest leadership challenge? And they'll say, dealing with the younger generation. And
100%.
Here's the thing, there's always going to be a younger generation.
That's right.
Yeah.
Like,
and
it's
what they're
always going to
saying is,
happen.
they're admitting that dealing with people is an issue for them, which I get. It is. It's an
it can
issue
be.
for,
Yeah.
anytime you've got relationships at work, there's going to be some difficulty involved. But we just throw it out there and go, well, it's because of the younger generation.
Yeah.
Or it's because these folks today don't want to work. Not true necessarily all the time.
Right.
That's right. That's right.
So you've been successful, right? Like, if someone's looking at you or reading your book, they're going to say, yeah, this man, Terry, he's been successful. How do you define success today, maybe differently than you would have defined it early in your career?
Yeah. I think Macy's success is climbing the ladder. It's all about getting to the top or getting to, a point where you feel like I'm successful. But having the conversations lately with the people that I've touched and realizing that the success really was the people that I touched along the way, the people that have now got great careers, they're raising families. I've literally gotten to a point to where I've had kids come to work for me that their parents worked for me. And it's really it's a blessing.
Says something.
Yeah,
that really
it's a
does
blessing to be able to touch that many people.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize retiring and writing the book, we're going to bring so many people from my past sort of out of the woodwork, if you will.
Yeah.
I love that.
And it has been enriching beyond anything I can even mention. The people that have come forward to go, man, Terry, I knew I always, I loved working for you. And again, I'm sure there's a few out there that probably didn't. Thank goodness they're not calling me.
Yeah, they're not.
That's right.
They're not buying the book. They're not asking for the autograph.
That's right.
That's okay.
So, Terry, this may just piggyback on what you just said, because we were talking about success. But what does legacy mean to you?
Legacy isn't what I accomplished. It's what's now a part of it because I was here.
Oh, that's good.
You know,
Yeah.
When I can look back at the company that I just left, and when people can still say, you know, Terry, you helped us with this, you did this. That's my legacy, is what's still there.
Yeah.
What's still there.
Now that I'm gone.
I love that.
It's kind of how I see it.
Yeah. And I think that is a really great transition into our big takeaway of the week. And it would basically be like, listeners, if you're taking one thing from this episode, let it be this. The climb matters as much as the destination.
Yeah.
Right? Like anyone can chase a title. The challenge is reaching success while maintaining your character, your relationships, your values. The leaders people remember, they're rarely the ones who climbed the fastest, but they're the ones who climbed the right way, focused on the right things.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, great leaders never forget where they started, right? So
amen.
Whether you're leading a team of 5 or 500, staying connected with the people who do the work creates better decisions, stronger relationships, and healthier cultures. The higher you rise, the more important it becomes to remember what it felt like at the bottom.
Mayce, DelValle, say that last part again.
I know. As I was saying it,
I was like, this is good. Say it again.
That's
good stuff.
Good. The higher you rise, the more important it becomes to remember what it felt like to be at the bottom.
Oh my gosh, that's good. That may have to be a whole new podcast.
Hey,
right
if we
there.
tweeted, that would be a tweetable.
It would be a tweetable if we tweeted. Terry, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much.
If our listeners want to stay in touch with you, how can they do that?
So, they can reach out to me on email at terry@terrystanleyspeaks.com.
Okay,
Perfect.
Awesome. And then this is a question we ask all of our guests. So what is your favorite leadership quote?
I'm going to throw 2 at you.
Okay, we get a bonus.
Double
bonus. So one of my favorite quotes is from Teddy Roosevelt. And he says, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Yeah, we love that one.
It's so true. It's timeless.
Yeah. And then one of the quotes out of my book is, success is climbing the ladder. Leadership is holding it for someone else.
Oh, we just got 2 podcasts for the price of one. Actually,
yeah, that's a good one. That is such like an image, right?
Oh,
you can see what that means. That's so good. And listeners,
that's good.
Do you have a favorite leadership quote? Send it our way and we may spotlight it on a future episode.
And we'll be back next week with another quote, more leadership insights, and you know what we're going to do.
Well, of course.
We're going to talk about it. Thank
Bye,
you, Terry.
Bye, bestie.
Mayce. Bye,
Thank
Terry.
you.
Bye. We want to thank you for listening. If you're enjoying this podcast, please show us some love by clicking the 3 dots to download the podcast. Leave us a 5-star rating on your podcast app and talk about it with other leaders to help them find the show from any of the major podcast apps. We'd love for you to follow us on social media too. Mpactful with an M _ messages on Instagram and Mpactful Messages on LinkedIn.